Board of Directors, Oswego, New York. It is 4:36, and we will begin, excuse me, with introductions, and we'll start with the executive.
Tom Drum, Port of Oswego.
Jenna LaPietra, board member.
James Metcalf, board member.
Matt McMahon, Port employee.
Kitty Macy, board member.
Diane Zeller, board member.
County Cosmetic Board. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of April 16th, 2026 regular monthly meeting. It's agenda A in your book. Any additions or corrections? Then we can file this submitted.
So I'll move it.
You don't have to. You don't have to if there are no corrections or additions.
I just want to check on that.
Okay.
Do we have in here that Fran resigned?
Yes,
Okay, sorry, I didn't read this in advance.
it might be at the very end, Jenna. And he nominated. I know it's there, I read it. I'm forgetting.
Okay. So maybe it's up here now. Oh, that he be removed from consideration of the board.
Wasn't I at that meeting?
Yes.
He would be resigning.
You
It
came
just
in
says
at
that he would be
4:36.
resigning.
I'm not on
Did he actually resign?
He did.
Okay, so then as of this meeting, he's resigned? Because it says he will be resigning there.
Actually, on the tape, it was, he resigned effective,
that meeting.
that meeting.
Yes, he did, at the end of the meeting, he resigned.
Yeah, I mean, we can clarify the language if you want, Jenna. I get what you're saying.
So why don't we entertain a motion to pass as edited?
So moved.
So we will make those corrections. Fran's resignation is effective at the end of the meeting, okay? And note that Diane entered at 4:30, I believe it was 4:36.
Gotcha.
Any other additions or corrections? All in favor? Opposed? Passed. Just to know, because we need 5 for a quorum, and we have 5 members, including me as chair, I will be voting. Our third agenda is our operational report, and operations report with our executive director, Tom Duran, and operations manager.
Good evening, everybody. Just want to send Debbie Godden some good vibes. She is currently with her daughter, who's in labor. So she is, yeah, she's been in labor for an extended period of time, and so Debbie's been running around. So just keep her in your thoughts, and told Debbie do what she needs to do this week. But she does so much work to get these things kind of prepared for everybody. So I just wanted to put on the record that we're thinking of her, and just wanted to. So, diving into our administrative and operations report, I'm going to tag Pat in here on a couple of things. Your reports continue to exist here in your Exhibit C1 and C2. Definitely encourage you to take a look at them in your spare time. Big pie chart you see, which most of you have in front of, is a good reflection of just kind of expenses and income throughout the past month. We had just about a break-even month, which isn't great, but isn't bad either. And so a lot of that is credited to our first vessel arriving. I'll let Pat dive into a little bit of the vessel, what was on it. You want to just give a quick brief on what we handled with the aluminum cells?
We loaded half the load in the FTZ zone, and the other half was outside. Starting this season was one of the most headaches that I've ever had. And Tom was able to see it, that a lot of our aluminum was not marked. So when they come off with like OB, OC, so that we know what company and stuff. There was over
400 or something?
400 or 500 pieces that Tom, myself, and the gentleman, Jason Hibbert from the union, were going through 200 pages of numbers and looking for each piece and writing down what they are. So the ILA were working the rear ends off, trying to, they were doing everything they could, the safest and fastest way, but most of the time we'll get 10, 12 of these that, we have to find numbers for, never 500. It took us, almost 4 hours.
Pat and I worked from, and this is credit to the ILA because they were there for most of it too, but Pat and I did a 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. that day. And I sat with Jason down there. I wanted to see it and how it works. Jason Hibbert, who's foreman of the ILA, has been doing this for 35 years. He said, I don't know if it's me or what, I don't know what kind of vibes are floating out there, but he said, this has never happened to us, and so we're confident that it's a one-off. But if this continues, we're going to have a conversation with some of the brokers and with some of the companies as well, because thankfully the way these are structured is when we go into overtime, that responsibility is billed back to the proprietors or the owners of the, so the port's not on the hook for that type of overtime. But again, they don't want to pay it either, but we moved 5,200 pieces of aluminum with 500 of them being unmarked, which means they take it off the barge, they put it into a pile. Pat and I are on our hands and knees with a Sharpie noting things. And so when it's 12, it's manageable. When it's 500, it's not. And so it's a credit to everybody that was down there to get it done. Our count was exact. Any hiccups that we had, we knew we had a piece misplaced here or there. We had it all done by 1 in the morning. So it's a credit to the ILA. It's a credit to Pat, quite literally going through sheets and sheets and sheets, working together to try to get these marked correctly. So again, this seems very much like a one-off. Again, Jason's worked here longer than I've been alive and said it's never ever been like this. But we got it done. They had to pay the overtime for it, unfortunately, but we were happy. It was to get it all right. It's quite an
Happy that
operation.
it was inside because it was pouring out.
Yeah, rain for when we started to when we had to.
Everything was dry, thank God, back there.
Is that mess up caused when it was loaded onto the ship?
No, it was when it came out of the machines. It's like when they are stacking them, each piece is supposed to be marked. So it's not the loading on the ship side, it's when the guys are putting the stickers on. They're marking them, supposed to be marking them there at the moment.
So you have to look for those numbers on the gold rating, is that what?
Yeah, essentially it's a cross-reference, right?
So are you doing that on a tablet or are you doing it on paper?
If we have to do this moving forward, we'll have to get a lot more technologically advanced to do it right. We're doing it all on paper.
It would be very easy to do this with AI.
Yes, I would agree.
It would be, but I mean, like, even for you all to set it up to do it with AI is extremely easy.
Yeah. I think that's an important note. We were not expecting this volume this time around, right? So we was all hands on deck. Moving forward, again, I do think this is a one-off. Maybe. Yeah, exactly, right, yeah. It went from 12 pieces to 500.
Right.
If for some reason this is a trend, it's going to have to be a conversation with the brokers where this can't be happening. But if it is a regular occurrence, you're 100% right. Like, we can't do that every time.
Right.
We're supposed to be done at 11:30. We went till until 1, those guys are being paid double time when it hits midnight. So again, we don't pay for it, but at the same time, the ILA doesn't like dealing with it either, right? They have to take a pile off the
No,
boat,
and I'm sure
set it in a
it's
separate
going to
pile.
Novellis, right? I mean, they're not gonna wanna deal with it, so
Yeah,
they're gonna go
yeah.
back to their vendor.
You got it. So if we're having hiccups moving forward, yeah, absolutely. We're gonna either have to get some type of bar reading system or correlate it with AI somehow to streamline it, because we can't, Pat and I were on our hands and knees with the Sharpie. I mean, it can't be like that. It would work this time, thankfully, but like, to your point, it can't be moving forward. But regardless, it's a good hit for us. It's a good sized boat. It's it's gonna bring in some income. Not it's not earth shattering, but we're gonna anytime we get vessels like that, our bottom line is
Yeah, it's got a QR.
is kind of thankful for it.
Do you know what the year over year is, like, you said we pretty much broke even in April, do you know what
Yeah,
it
it's-
said last year?
Yeah, it's in your exhibits there. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head.
I saw, yeah, I saw.
I have highlighted it because it's going to anticipate the question. Again, I'm just new enough to be a little bit
Yeah.
dangerous with these numbers, but
I mean, it's,
I think if you go to
no, here it is, I have
yeah,
it.
and if you go to the profit loss statement here as well, you'll see
We're a
actual.
little bit ahead.
Yeah, yep, so we're at 330 this month. Compared to last year prior, we were at about 238,000. And then if you flip down even further, you'll see our total expenses there at 334. We brought in about 330 this month, so we're down. We're almost at that break-even point. We're about
Oh, so
4,000.
this looks like we're down a little bit.
We are, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we're
We're
down.
down a little.
We're down this number right here for the.
Over there.
And so, like, why you're seeing a negative there is because of how poorly things performed last year. We're still playing a lot of catch up on outstanding bills, right? And so, the goal for me is to try to get as close to that break-even point as we can on a month-over-month basis. If we see vessel volume increase, that's where we'll be able to start to get back into the green. But with a month where we saw one vessel, our traditional kind of potash traffic, our traditional truck usage with Movavi and so on and so forth, it's not a bad month considering the bills that we have outstanding. We have to take all of our revenue, hit that break-even point, but really go ahead and tackle our outstanding expenses. And so until we get those managed and under control, you're not going to see a ton in the green. We have to be very aggressive in tackling outstanding debts that the court has. And so if you go through when you get home tonight and look at our monthly bills, which Debbie puts in here, you'll see what we paid for. I mean, she spells it out on pretty much a 2-week basis on what it's going towards. I can tell you the bulk of our revenues are attacking our credit lines right now. We have to get our credit lines under control. And so anytime we receive bulk revenue in from a ship right now or for any type of large-scale project, Debbie's been very strategic about tackling some bills that are coming due and then really trying to be aggressive with the remainder going to the credit line. So we have bills that are due in 2 weeks, we try to prioritize those, tackle those, and then at the same time also try to throw a bulk of our revenue towards that credit line. And so, yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
ask the dumb question there?
Maybe, yeah. Join the club.
The bills that are due like in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I assume, and I'm sure Deb is doing this, is looking at what the interest rate is on those bills as opposed to our credit lines, because our credit lines are high.
Yeah, she's going, again, she can speak to it a little bit better, but she's been very strategic in trying to attack what's hurting us most
The highest.
on the back end. And so we have different vendors that we can work with on outstanding things, and we have long-standing relationships where if we're a month late on something, we have the relationship where we can push that off a month. But I've told her, and we've been in agreement that anything that's high credit or high interest, we have to attack first. Yeah, and so that's why you see when you go through those bills, you'll see tens of thousands dedicated towards the credit line as opposed to maybe a custodial vendor that we're maybe a month and a half behind, right? Because we work with them, but we pay 7.5 on the credit line. So yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that's where throughout the duration of this year, that has to be our singular focus, in my opinion, is lasering in on where we're getting hit with this high interest. Getting that to where it's manageable, hopefully being able to renegotiate into a lower interest loan or a different type of line of credit. I think it's going to be a line of credit, it'll have to be a loan, but 3% is a lot better than 7%, and so we're going to be strategic in that. But yes, to answer your question directly, yes, that's exactly
And
it.
any, I know we talked about last month, was talking to the state about any kind of low interest loans or?
Yeah, I haven't been able to find anything outside of what's called, and this is something we've been actively working on since I came on board, but it's part of a longer term strategic planning, is the first issuance loans that come through the state. They came into this port back in the 60s, brought the port up
Right,
until what it
yeah.
is today. Though, in my opinion, that's,
About 50,000 a year?
yeah. So they came in originally, that project was for $6 million total. We've run some financial simulations on, you're looking at comparison about 50, 60 million in today's money. To be completely transparent, that's the type of investment that the place needs. And so when you're looking directly to the state for that line of credit, your best bet is for that first issuance is at 0%. We pay them right now under the old first issuance loan about $50,000 a year. But it's a unique relationship because it's a state authority and it's New York State, right? So New York State is not historically come and called those lines of credit due, right? Because you're the state, New York State working with the state authority. So for long term here, from a financial standpoint, we have to. It's time for another one of those, and to a scale of large magnitude. And so that's going to take a lot of local lobbying and so on and so forth. For like direct operations, credit line, and things like that, as far as the state goes, there's nothing that I can find that gives you 0% interest to run your operations on a day in and day out basis. But for the larger scale improvements around here, that first issuance loan I think is our best bet. What's key about that is the state cuts the check up front, right? So in a position where we are, where we're not incredibly cash heavy at this point, to go out on a grant or a loan where we'd have to put that money up front, and to the scale that's needed down here, that's the way to go. So I've explored short term, I've explored long term. Long term's the first issuance. That's our plan. As far as short term operating for different types of projects, not really that I can find. You can do it through the budget allocation process. There might be different ways, but nothing cut. I wish there was, which makes it all more important to, I've been meeting with our lenders, right? We do a lot of work with Pathfinder. We just started a new project with Canada National. It's important for them to know that we're going to be aggressive in doing our finances to a point of manageability, and then showing that we're going to be continuing a good partner to where if we need to go out for loans, or for grants, some that we already have awarded, we have a partner that's able to do that. So that's what I've, for my research, that's what I've come to find. Anyway, just a big thank you to the ILA, a big thank you to Pat, who let me follow him around for 5,200 pieces of aluminum. It was something. But we made it work, and it's good news. Aluminum vessels are good news at the end of the day. They just all can't. They all can't be like that. Pat, do you want to talk to everybody a little bit about, just quickly, the potash and the vessel that we're expecting, I think, next week, correct?
The 19th. We have a potash ship, first ship of the season is coming in on the 19th. Fill up one of the domes. At that point in time, I'm going to ask the captain if he can scoop down a little bit and see if he can hit, well, not hit, but I say hit the hatch on the Thunderdome, Dome 4. Yeah, to make sure that any future customer, salt, anything like that, can dump into that dome. Right now, I'm not 100% sure if it's going to reach. I won't know until I try.
And you think the captain will?
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a great relationship.
We have an aluminum barge, should be coming back next month. It'll be June. He plans on coming back. He went to Toledo to drop off a load. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but our electric sheet is sitting outside the window right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big unit.
Pat, pull that around for you guys.
I'll give tours later.
Does it work?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just ask it.
That was a great question. It's totally
How's it
fair.
work?
Around here, that's a totally
We do have some other inquiries of different product that we're trying to bring in here. Tom's been working on that. So we got a concrete chip coming in tomorrow for the west side.
And a lot of volume of concrete has been, if you've been noticing down here, we've had a lot of concrete chips, and we've also seen a lot of the tractor trailers coming around as well. Indications are it's all heading up to 81 for that big project as they start to get directly into the city of Syracuse, but it's good business for us when they pull up. It's low labor for us. We have 2 guys tied off, and then we get the tonnage off that, right, Pat? And then we'll pay on the workforce. And so, yeah, we'll take it. That we get. But potash is a good thing. That's kind of from my understanding, Pat, we make decent revenue off of that.
Same thing.
And so,
And that is just I'm here, and then we have one ILA member that monitors from their side, but there's only 2 people that work here, and the ship does all the work. It takes about 3 hours, it's about 3 hours to unload into one of the drums.
How much cost difference is there this year with the potash?
However, it's done.
If
Their cost or what we're asking for.
What they're paying for is come through.
are the tariffs in question to be reduced or eliminated on potash?
yes, let me make sure I try to get this right. When the recent Supreme Court ruling came down, the tariffs were removed from the potash. The president then tried to go back through executive order to put a new tariff after the ruling back on them. So my understanding, there is a tariff on soybeans potash right now, but it's not to the level you're seeing with it's anywhere from and I apologize, I shouldn't have the numbers, but it's anywhere between 10 and 25% tariff on it.
I thought I saw 15 or something.
Yeah, it's in that range. I wish I could remember.
I think there's been a ruling against those tariffs.
Yeah, it's
Lower points, but it's got to go up.
well, it's very complicated from a litigation standpoint because you have a Supreme Court ruling, and where we're dealing with this tariffs is with Novelis and aluminum particularly is because the Supreme Court struck those tariffs down, but they didn't include the aluminum because the way that the administration is categorizing aluminum tariffs is through a national security executive order, which the Supreme Court didn't have preview in striking down those tariffs. It's essentially, the aluminum tariff is essentially a carve out of what the United States Supreme Court struck down. So aluminum's still at 50, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon until it's either litigated or it's fixed legislatively, which both have the potential to take up a very long time. The potash and the grain, yeah, it's tricky to follow the litigation from it because the Supreme Court ruled, struck it down, then the president almost immediately unilaterally tried to go and reimpose in some, and then to my knowledge, that's where it was being litigated again, which I don't know how you litigate against a Supreme Court ruling. That's where I start to get.
It came under a different.
Yeah, that's where I start to get a little bit lost in the legal.
Don't feel bad about that.
Thank you. Yeah, because it's.
But it was under a different
I'm not
law
over it.
that he
I'm a
was.
lot lost.
Yeah,
He went forward under a different tariff law
Yeah,
and imposed the same tariffs.
right.
So
So it has
it's
to
a
be
different law. And
relitigated all again.
Correct.
Yeah. So,
But I think it has been struck down low court like that.
okay,
First level federal court.
that'd be good. That'd be good.
There's been some ruling already.
That'd be good news because what you've seen historically with the administration is they will, at least from my experience, they will double down on things. But if they won't do it in certain instances, they won't do it forever. There is times that I've seen, at least through my other line of work and through my research, to where they will.
Within the courts, correct.
You got it.
That's where they will.
So we can be hopeful for that. On other things, like you're seeing with aluminum, they will dig their heels in, and so we just try to be as good a partner as we can. If we can help them save costs, we'll try to help them save costs. But we have to make our money too, and so it's a tough it's a tough climate. It's just a tough climate right now to do these types of cargo. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, which kind of leads me into potential new clients, which we have listed on here. You know, the goal for me is we have to be, you know, we have some white whales out there, including like Micron, but in the meantime, we have to make sure we're doing the work with other cargo and commodities as well. And so Pat and I have been very aggressive in sourcing new cargo, particularly for what we call the Thunderdome, which is the blue dome out there. So we have a lot of interest in that space. Right now it's being used for boat storage, which is not best use, obviously.
For what?
For boat storage it was used for last year. We have 4 or 5 salt vendors that are interested in it. We have a sugar plant that's interested in it, and we have a cement company that is always been interested in it as well. Yeah,
Is it divided up?
it is not. No, it's an open
So how
space.
would you?
You would have to be very, very.
I mean, you wouldn't want to get the potash and the salt
Well,
mixed together
no
with
potash,
sugar.
no
or-
potash in that blue building. So
Okay.
that's, the potash goes in the domes.
Okay.
That blue building was built for salt,
Yes.
really. But we can do other things like super sacks of sugar, which are 1.5 ton size bags that are stackable.
Okay.
Same thing with the cement, but no cross mingling there between like salt and any type of agriculture product, because you can't. Well, you can't do it, and we would never do it. So we've started to explore high interest in salt. We got an interesting cement discussion that's out there, and same thing with the sugar, which I think is a little bit down the road, but a major goal for us this year is to put best use to that building. I don't really, we want to be advantageous in what's going to make the most revenue, but at the same time, there's other factors like readiness to go, volume, there's other factors in that matrix to where we would hit go on something. I would say sugar's probably a little farther away, salt's probably closer, and then we also have this interesting cement project that has some potential as well. Kit, to your point though, logistically it can get a little bit tricky, right? Because these vessels, this one vessel per se wants to bring in 22,000 metric tons of cement. We have a salt broker that wants to bring in, you know, another 20,000 of salt. We have to be, it takes very concise scheduling because unfortunately, we don't have the room for all of them with the amount of aluminum that we have here. If we have aluminum downstairs in the warehouse, different story, but we have to prioritize our aluminum because that's our core business. And try to identify if we can get a couple of different projects in there, that would be great. If it's just salt, that's great. I mean, that's what it was built and used for.
Does aluminum need to be in the house?
Yes, for spacing wise right now it does. In an ideal world, no, but you'll see out back here is where we store our big slabs. The sows, particularly in the foreign trade zone, we can only store foreign trade items in that back of the warehouse, hence it's only for aluminum right now. We have done some boiler projects back there that wanted to kind of starve off the tariff, so FTZ can be a double-edged sword sometimes because it's great when people utilize it and save on the tariffs, but at the same time where like we can store some of those sugar sacks back there or something. So we're exploring how do we retrofit that maybe to need that whole space just as an FTZ can do.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for quite some time, getting out of the FTZ zone.
Yeah, I don't know if you want, it's a discussion if you want to get it out fully or if you just want to reduce your footprint. If you could split the middle there to be able to have people utilize it when they need it, it can be attractive in some instances, but when it limits us to be able to take other cargo, that's where it starts to become problematic. And so if we had full utilization of that warehouse, this wouldn't be a discussion. Right now we have a lot of aluminum out there, that's good, that's fine, that's FTZ. But the other half of the warehouse right now, we'll put more FTZ aluminum in there if we get it, but if we don't, it's really underutilized space. And that's where we run into trouble where I'm having to pick a cargo here as opposed to taking it all, which is what I want. So we're going to explore it. But
Tommy, how about the West Pier? Is there anything that can go there?
yeah, Pat, we've done aluminum out there before.
Out there?
Yeah.
I knew that, I remember seeing
We had
salt out
salt
there.
out
Yeah,
there.
we
It's
are.
like tarp or
It's
something.
just that it's the traffic for trucks, because we have to scale everything here, then we bring everything over there.
Oh, that road's a
And
rush.
then, or if you get trucks over there, they gotta scale them first, get their product, come back, scale back
It's
out.
kind of a, we can do aluminum over there pretty efficiently. It's not ideal, but we've navigated away, at least under my month here, away from wanting to tarp any type of salt near waterways. I don't like the First off, it's labor intensive. From a maintenance standpoint, they're a pain to keep maintained. And then I don't like the aspect of runoff as close as we are into the lake, to be frank. So I've told our salt folks that are interested, we're happy to provide indoor storage that's controlled, but as far as tarping, and it's just, that doesn't sit right with me. I think it has the potential. If we were making tons and tons of money off it, yeah, we could really figure out a way to make it work, but I don't want a salt pile out on that West Dock tarp. I don't think it's good in wind in the winter. I don't like that we can't control runoff very well out there. I just don't like.
DOT.
Yeah, we just don't.
Oh, yeah, no, I get it. I
we-
just wanted to, it's just big vacant space. So
We're gonna
throw some aluminum over there.
We're-
Put more salt over here.
give us about another month and you might see some
Nice
out
little
there because we're getting tight. So,
That's
uh,
good.
house.
Yeah.
yeah.
If anybody has a big backyard,
Yeah, throw some out there. We can use the space. As far as tenant reports, I don't have much to update here. We can talk a little bit about a resolution that's coming up a little bit later in your agenda. We have 2 leases coming up, the Marine Museum and USGS Fish and Wildlife is set to expire at the end of this month.
Yep.
That's on the agenda for us to talk about, so I'm not going to be over it here. There. Both our grants we've been actively meeting on with CNS, who've been the lead on that. There is a large-scale document about rail upgrades and grain conveyor out right in front of my office. If anyone's interested in seeing the stages of how that project works, CNS provided it for us. The holdup with these projects will continue to be a cash flow issue. It's about being able to provide money up front to get these projects started for reimbursement on the back end. We have to be very, very strategic in the short term about deciding what type of projects we want to fund. I'm of the opinion that these are good projects, particularly with rail upgrades and grain conveyor, the EDF, or excuse me, the EDA and PFRAP. That's funded, that's allocated to us. We have to provide the upfront costs to the project. And so we have to be very aggressive in getting our finances to a more manageable point, hopefully by the end of this year, to where then we could possibly look into how we would fund for these upgrades and the purchase of the conveyor. Because right now, I'm not comfortable going out for a couple $1 million on the credit line for a project. Just at this point, it's just not. It's not something I'm comfortable with right now. That's probably all I have to say about it, in publicly. But it's something we'll continue to explore, particularly with rail upgrades and grain conveyor, because that project's funded. We've been working with the various agencies to get an extension on it, and so stay tuned. We have to get things in-house wrangled, and I think a little bit better from a financial standpoint before we decide to go out on a credit line for something else. Is mine. That's open. It's open for discussion. That's where I come down. Our congressional spending, our CDS, our earmark was deemed ineligible, unfortunately. I'm working with Senator Schumer's office to figure out why it was deemed ineligible. Usually they approve or deny a project. It's kind of peculiar that they would deem it ineligible. And so digging in with Chuck's office to figure out why that is. I've been told in the past through the grapevine that fencing projects are notoriously difficult to get through the earmarking process. Does that make any sense? Not really. I'm not sure why. That's just what I've been told. But they should not approve the project as opposed to deeming it ineligible. That's where I'm getting a little bit.
We need to call them all.
Right. Yeah, seriously. Don't do it. So we'll get some clarity on that. In the meantime, there is another FEMA grant that the Senator's office has pushed us towards. Not as fruitful as an earmark. We're looking at about maybe $500,000 allocation as opposed to the 1.5 that we put in. But we are desperately in need of security upgrades around here. I've been told by Chuck's office that would be a priority project for this particular FEMA grant. And so they're kind of steering us that direction with hopes that, with not being able to provide the earmark for us, that maybe they feel a little bit more confident on being able to. We need it desperately around here as far as bringing that technology to a more modern security infrastructure. So we're doing patchwork right now on security stuff. You'll see new cameras start to pop up here over the next couple of weeks on some of our areas where we have faulty cameras, and so we're going to patch it in for now, keep it relatively inexpensive, a couple $1,000, so we have eyes in the sky where we need them. And then long term, you know, a $500,000 security upgrade here would be, it's what it really needs around here, so. Gonna get with CNS and see how we can be, you know, position ourselves to get in early on that. The thing with the CNS, with the earmarks, in hindsight, we probably should have been in that conversation a little bit earlier. It was a little bit late to the game, and we took a grant that we tried to get for somewhere else and tried to piecemeal it into this grant, and it didn't. It was a good try, but it didn't. And so next year, we'll sit down with the senator's office and say, help us define a priority project, right? Like, you just tell us what they're looking for, because, you know, I guarantee you don't get any stuff that will fall on
Have it, right.
So, it's a lesson. It is what it is. We'll find out why it was taken out. They got to tell me that, because that just doesn't make any sense.
Would the board ever be, would the board ever consider use of drones?
For security? I don't think we need it necessarily. If we had more real estate money, I think maybe, but right now, our coverage, if the system was operating the way that it should be operating, we have proper coverage. It's the fact that, it's a little bit faulty. It's really, I mean, if there was ever an emergency, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we would work with the city of Oswego and use some of their stuff that they utilize, like drones and things along those ways. But I get a little bit of gun shy about putting things into the air, to be honest with you. I think I think it's sometimes disconcerting to the public. Again, if it's an emergency.
You also need an operator.
They also make a lot of noise.
Well, that depends.
But you need an operator to run it, and it's good for, it's not something that you can just leave up there for 24 hours a
Oh,
day.
exactly.
So it has to be a discrete thing that you're doing, and then it doesn't come back.
Well, if the city has.
Yeah, in a case of emergency, absolutely. But again, if we had a larger footprint to where once a day we had an operator that could throw one up there, maybe. But right now, if we get our security, particularly our cameras where they need to be, I've gone through and done it on, but we have enough coverage. It's just functionality is what it comes into. Administrative office damage, we are working on it. I have a meeting with the Commissioner of the Office of General Services next week, I believe. So for you guys that were familiar with this, we try to go through that process. We're getting pushback, and I said I had some relationships that had relationships with the Commissioner, and she's willing to just take a meeting directly with me, so we can just kind of cut through the bureaucracy and get kind of a straight answer on this, which is good news. So I'll be able to report on that next month. Yeah. Not to take too much time here, you'll see a press release coming out about the break wall project here over the next couple of days. The Army Corps is continuing that project. They just recently allocated the next phase of the project to Dean Green, who we work closely with, who has done the bulk of the break wall. So, and some good news received is that they have, at a time where federal spending is a little bit iffy, it's good to see that when it comes to at least our infrastructure on the break wall, that they're continuing to allocate money. So we have this round, which is $20 million, and then there's been another round of $20 million that has been allocated to finish off that work. So you've seen them work, if you're looking at the landscape, you've seen them work left to right. They've done some a little bit out here, but you'll see a lot of this kind of, they have a little patch to the left, and then you're going to see stuff starting to be repaired by the parallel park running to the lighthouse, and then the east dock head over here as well is slated for repair. I don't know if you'll see this get done this year, but definitely the next round. So yeah, that's good news. It's a good partnership. It's important.
Which is a big deal for.
Yes, and so is Bay. We've been working with. They store some rock here as well. So it's been a good project. We make money off of the rock storage and things like that. Okay, just last thing on me, the still watch. It's still there. It's still there. And so we are I don't want to say too much about this publicly, but I want to be able to give you guys some sort of a briefing. We have an interested party in the Still Watch. The interested party came and walked the Still Watch with Pat and I a couple weeks ago. The interested party confirmed to me that they are indeed interested and are now going through proper paperwork on their end of things to be able to remove the Still Watch. I'm happy to give anybody a little bit more of a full briefing on that, but for just to be delicate of the individual that's going through this process, I don't want to say it's publicly or anything along those lines, but we are again, I came to you last month and I said, I feel good about this. I still feel good about it. This is taking all the steps to.
This is the same person that was
It
there
is,
last
yeah,
time. Okay.
yeah, it's coming to fruition.
Do we have a time frame?
I'm hoping, I'm optimistic. Yes, we do. Whether it sticks, I can't. I'll be as honest with you as possible. I'm hopeful, and now I was hopeful last week. So take that for what it's worth. But it does. This process is playing out the
We
proper
can
ways.
be hopeful until we're pessimistic.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm hopeful by the end of the month they are doing their due diligence on their end. They have the things in place that they need. We have the things in place on our end that we need. So it's as far as once those logistics are set in, it's as simple as hit and go. And see it.
Shall I throw the bomb for Yash party?
Do it again. Do whatever you
Play
want.
music.
Wait till it.
Titanic music, 'cause it's-
Wait till it's out of
So
sight.
confetti.
Pat, did you have anything else?
I was thinking about
Okay.
champagne.
Okay. That's all I got. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the administrative financial reports, summaries, primary and subsidiary fee. Who's doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. Debbie's not here. If you do home tonight and look into it, again, we talked kind of about break-even points and things along those lines. If any questions arise, we're always happy to talk. I think for those of us, it's a good thing as a board member to start wrapping your head around. If you don't read it regularly, it is a helpful tool to see month over month. It's a helpful tool to see what we're spending money on. And you guys.
Actually, I have one question on that.
Mhm.
We have a monthly fee that we pay for janitorial. It's like $600 a month. Is that?
It's part of the USGS contract. They wanted to have an external cleaning service.
Oh,
So,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
we did that under the new lease agreement.
All right, well, I couldn't tell from just.
Yeah, that's what it's for. It's for the new.
All right.
Yeah, that might be.
So we,
Considering we have custodial limits. Anyway,
will agree to agree, but we won't do a motion.
okay. Let's look
Or if you prefer to approve these, we get.
Yeah, I'd be more comfortable with sometimes
Sorry.
specific questions than going at something versus so specific.
Okay. Okay, next, chairman's report. Really, I don't have much to say. Other than that, a couple of things here. Jamie is going to do a little check on the self-evaluation of the board, because the questions are incomplete sentences.
Yeah.
And we're not obligated to give our opinion of something that is not complete, so. Jimmy, if you'll let me know on that, I will resend the chart. And the whole idea of the chart is for you to be able to make an assessment with no name on it. And I could,
So the last one, I feel that was mostly there. Okay, go ahead.
so I remember reading the complete sentences somewhere, but it may have been on Debbie's computer. but what I sent you is what she sent me, so I just
Because
wanted
I sent it back to
Jamie
you.
said he looked it up
I looked on
online
the
and it says
website
the exact
itself,
same thing.
because I thought that may have happened,
Yeah.
we lost something in translation someplace. Their website shows.
They need to be aware of that, so.
That's nuts.
And it can be, who knows, it was from a October of 24,
Yeah,
that it came out.
I read that too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, I'll check
Um,
it.
And I messaged, I talked to Tom Duran to let him know that he, as well as the H.Lee White Marine Museum, can contact Tammy regarding the slips that they use for educational purposes for the year of 26.
Yeah, they just signed the lease for 2 years.
Oh,
There's
for
no
the- for
leaves.
their,
Yeah, for their place that they're staying in.
2 years?
Yeah, that's
well,
how, I
that's
just read it.
different, so that's different than this.
No, it's different.
Yeah,
It's for
different.
where they have their,
The office,
their
that's where they
office.
have their.
Oh,
their
okay. This is for
computer
use of the
thing.
slip.
Yeah, this is a slip.
Yeah.
And Pat, as Pat mentioned, that Tammy will give them the assigned slip, and H.Lee White will have the same when they have it. Yes, I don't know, well, yeah,
With this,
yeah. So Tammy will give us a heads up on that. So that basically, Jenna, should I?
Yeah.
All right, so I have a letter here from Jenna. I will read it, May 11th, 2026. Dear Madam Chairwoman, please accept my resignation from the Board of Directors of Port of Municipal Authority effective May 12th, tomorrow, 2026. It's been my pleasure to serve the port in the city of Oswego, and with regrets, Unfortunately, our financial report status is causing issues. And have you all filled out your financial reports online?
No, I did that
Those are
yet.
due by the 15th.
Yeah.
And Albany's very, very strict. Unfortunately.
Super strict.
Yeah. I mean, they have no wiggle room.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, they, and I have to do it all over again from scratch. I don't know if you do too.
Well, I did, but I
What site?
had to do it last year, so I didn't have to do it from
I
scratch
will,
this
I
year.
will
I
send
had to
that
do it
you.
last year also when it came on, but when I went online, there was nothing there.
No, mine was there.
And they said I had to do it all again. Yeah, there's nothing, I had to fill in from the beginning.
For 20 years of my own job. They're like,
And I said I'm
The
only
same
gonna be
thing
here for
happened to
another
Fran,
month.
by the way.
And I said, can you just extend me a month? And they said, no.
They said the same thing to Fran, and that's why he resigned, because he just didn't want to do it. He had when he redo it.
No, it's a total credit.
So when the chairperson fills in the comments, I will address that. I will address the fact that it would be easier if the board members could just log in and not have to redo.
Well, I thought that's what we had to do, just like what we had. Oh, God.
Well, it works for some and it should work the same for everyone.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Right,
because it
and
worked for
that's
me
what-
this time.
That's what you said. You said, make
Works
sure
for
you
me.
log in. So I had to create a whole login and do it, and there was nothing there. I started filling in and then I was like, you gotta be kidding.
It's a lot of work
It's
to
a
do
lot of
your
work.
original financial
Yes.
report. You have to have all the documentation. So I will make a comment.
And Marie, I told Marie also.
So I have nothing else, and there were no committee meetings in April, but we do have an ad hoc committee. And Jen, are you doing the report on that?
No, why don't you guys do it?
So the ad hoc committee with the Oswego Yacht Club, we basically came to a general consensus. Not everybody was on the exact same page of specifics, but a general consensus that we should wait at least a year before we do anything with the yacht club and see how the global marina does for us, rather than jump in and make that decision. There were other considerations, whether it was the bottom line is we might be able to do this and still come out ahead, because if it's fully rented, what was our number, 36? 36,000. If we get to 36,000 by full rental, we won't lose money. We won't be making a heck of a lot of money, but we won't be losing. So that was the general consensus, so we notified the Durans that was our position, and I suspect that's why you heard that they signed a 2-year lease.
Yeah.
Because they had mentioned, I think they were hoping for a year, and maybe
Yeah, the other wanted to hear, but.
maybe their landlord didn't want to go a year or something, but
No,
that's
two.
outside of what we're doing. So it wasn't a direct decision against the yacht club by any means. It was, we think we should look at this a little bit further before we jump on anything. So that's what we're doing.
Well, that's reasonable. All right. Old business. Motion is going to be needed to authorize the executive director to negotiate and execute a lease with U.S. General Services Administration, GSA, for the USGS at 17 Wilk Street, and to sign and complete any and all paperwork regarding the lease agreement.
Just a note, I think that's a new business. I don't think we had any old business.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just for the.
My mistake.
No, it's okay.
I apologize. New business.
Are we ready to sign?
Yeah, do you guys, we can have this, I don't know if you want to make a motion before and then discuss, or how you prefer to handle
I
it.
mean, I feel like we've been discussing this for months
I'm
with
happy.
Tom Snyder. I mean, this isn't new.
Yeah, I'm happy to discuss it before then. So, no, to answer your question directly, no, we are not ready to sign anything. What Connie and I have discussed this a little bit in our conversations. I think it's important for, when this doesn't have to be decided tonight, but it's important for the board to decide how they want to handle leases moving forward. From my understanding of the historical context here, there's been instances where it's the executive director's preview. He goes, he negotiates all the leases, and he executes them. There's been other instances like you're seeing tonight where we're seeing the board authorizing me to negotiate. I do think this happens often to where we're at least putting something on the record to say you're allowed to negotiate. What the board needs to decide is, with this language, this would allow me to execute the lease. So I go, I negotiate, I execute, and it's done. If the board wants more preview under the lease negotiation process, and this could be, we should try to be uniform in this, but it can be done on a case-by-case basis if there's certain leases that the board's more interested in than others, right? We have some that are cut and dry. We have the fitness center out at Novellis. That's a pretty cut and dry lease, right? This is not going to be a cut and dry lease. I'm fully confident in being able to negotiate and execute it, but the board should consider how we want to handle it moving forward. I have no preference. Most streamlined for me is exactly what you have here tonight. The board gives me the authority to go and negotiate as they see fit and then execute it. If the board wants to have final approval on what we want to execute, I'm open to that. That's within your preview as well. But I think, moving forward, we should probably think about standardizing this process. If you want to give me the power to negotiate and execute, I'm more than capable of doing that. I mean, I'm not going to go close door on you guys and just, I'll keep you guys updated and we can check ins however after the board wants to. Or if the board just wants to give me the power to negotiate right now and come back with a lease to execute, I could do that as well. The only caveat with that is, particularly with this one, we're some of these conversations that we're having should have been probably done a long time ago. There's been a lot of put off maintenance over there, same thing with the building we're sitting in now. So, I think it's just the relationship between myself as the board, where we're going to start to run into trouble is if I go and I negotiate a lease that I think is solid, and I come back to the board and it's being picked apart, and then I have to go back to them and then back to you guys, and we start to get into this game to where nothing's getting done. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying that's the potential.
We're gonna go into closed session. Can we table this to after closed session?
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just think.
I just have a couple of questions and I think they're probably important.
But if we're gonna do that, we have to table with a motion that has appropriate language as to why we're doing it.
Correct.
And I think,
This is a
It could be very,
well, but it has to be more than just financial, it has to be the fact that we have several leases ongoing, or excuse me, negotiations ongoing right now, and to give out the terms and conditions of this particular potential lease against others that are existing should be done in executive session. I mean, that's the best I, unless you're thinking something else.
And there's a
But there's gotta
reason
be-
why
there's
this
gotta be
is a challenging leash, because of it's a federal.
Correct, correct, but but
I
they're
understand what you're
getting
saying.
very specific out of the moment, that's something I was reading on that ADO website. They've given us a list of what we should say, actually.
So what's your motion?
Well, the motion would be that, to table the matter to review in executive, to hold till executive session and then vote thereafter in open session. Is that the list, Tommy, from, thank you.
So-
I was just telling, there's a list of questions.
yeah, so I would,
Or-
you know, the state is cracking down on executive session, as they should, in my opinion. So I looked at the same thing, to your point, about whether this could go into executive session. This decision we can make is important. What we can't do is, we have an executive session already scheduled for one topic. You
Mhm.
can't loop another topic into an executive session. You should keep,
Everything listed.
yeah, you should keep parameters there. So where this would fall possibly into is under property transactions. So where it starts to get into a little bit of a gray area is this is, you know, it's about acquiring property, and so, you know, it's really the board's call. I mean, if we're talking direct financials, I think we could probably, you know, go into executive session on this, but it's got to be, and we could also table this to next month. I mean, I'm having conversations with these folks. I'm actively having conversations. It's not direct negotiations yet because we're hung up on a couple big issues, and so here my suggestion would be the board could enter into an executive session surrounding property transactions. There's some language there for you, Chairwoman. Or we could potentially table it, bring it back up. I'm particularly keen to doing this the right way, just because it's when you start to loop multiple things into an executive session, the state doesn't like that. So we could go into an executive session, come back out and re-enter into an executive session, but right now the way that it's listed is you know, we could amend. I'm sorry, guys, I don't mean to get into the nitty-gritty here, but I do think it's right now you have to move to an executive session to discuss matters pertaining to the employment history of a particular person. We can amend the agenda to reflect a discussion surrounding personal property matters, and then we would reflect that in the change in minutes.
Well, that's where it should be changed.
So I would recommend making a motion to add on to your existing executive session, and then we can cover both purviews in that.
And I think we should put in language that it's a negotiation about real property.
It is, yeah, I mean, that's
And
completely
there
true.
are several ongoing and about to come up. And there's also mentioned in there the sale of real property, how it could affect the price value of debt. If those numbers come out, it affects price. Same thing with rent, so
Okay, I defer to your judgment on
I
that.
think that's analogous.
So I think what you're recommending is we'll hold on this motion until after executive session. Is that kind of what you were suggesting, John?
Correct. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, that's fine.
Table until after executive session.
Oh, because when you come out of the executive session, that's when you do your
Yeah,
motions.
yeah. Okay. Great.
Alright, so
So we move on tabling it or what?
I don't think you have to do anything with it.
You don't have to do anything.
We'll just bring it up
We
after.
just don't address it right now.
Did you get that, Trish?
All right.
Oh, yeah. I knew exactly what you were saying.
However,
Right.
we move next, then, number 9, new business. We are going to ignore the motion to authorize executive.
Okay, sure.
Okay,
Move
we're
it
in
down.
that one for now, but we will move on to the next motion to authorize the executive director to be authorized to execute the line of credit with Canon.
And in the National Bank?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yep, so this is just our new line of credit regarding the rail card.
Correct.
So this is pretty standard. All of our lines like this, they require two signatures on it. So Debbie signs it and I sign it. So, but the bank, in order to add me as a signer, it's a resolution.
I make a motion.
Second.
Diane? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Welcome to the Canandaigua National Bank.
Yeah, excited to have it.
Sign away.
Is that away?
All right, now we have we need a motion to move to.
No,
we're
we're doing the
To
golf
just-
golf charities.
The golf charities.
What is wrong with my eyes? I'm sorry. To authorize the director to make a donation for a T-sign at the United Way of Greater Oswego County's charity golf tournament that will take place Friday, June 26, 2026, Exhibit D.
So historically, I've been told that these types of philanthropy tend to come before the board. So we threw this in your packet today. I would say the board, if the board has recommendations for future kind of charity work within reasonability, you should always feel welcome to approach this forum with it. This was one that was sent directly to us. It's United Way. They do
Yeah.
just really just good
Just
work.
good
I don't.
stuff.
Yeah.
How much is it?
So we that's up to you guys. What type of level of sponsorship you want to do? I mean,
Does anybody remember what we did last year?
It says here for a T-sign.
yeah, that would be. I think Ken put that in there because that would probably be my recommendation.
It's $100.
It's $100, but if the board felt like they wanted to get a, it goes all the way up to $5,000, which I wouldn't recommend. But T-sign's $100.
Yeah.
If you have people that want to play, and anyone on the board wants to play and donate that day, it's a $600 team. So it's really your
Baseball, basketball.
it's golf.
Oh, I'm not old
I
enough.
feel like the T-sign is good.
That's
Honestly,
The board has bought a portion before, and I'm not advocating for that.
Yeah, I feel like
I think for
that
devil, I don't know if it's bad. Look, I just, for devil's advocacy here, are we in a position to donate money to anybody this year? Because we got some pretty big donations coming up.
Not, that's,
Are we gonna
And if
donate
you
to
give
Harbor
100,
Fest this
well,
year?
there you go. And I love Harbor Fest, I was on the board.
Yeah, but
That's a
we should.
lot of money, and we're in tough
I don't
financial
see where
straits.
we're gonna find 10,000.
No.
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head in my opinion, Jamie. I think where we can be helpful on a little bit of a smaller scale this year, $100 for a T-sign, it's good for them, good for us, it's a good cause, it's this fine balance, right? We want to be community
Sure,
partners still,
absolutely.
but to a certain extent, we have to be, we have to be
But they gotta
fiduciary
realize
responsible.
where we're at.
Yeah, yeah.
We're on
So
an
that's-
austerity budget.
That's why I tried to split the baby, to be honest with you, on that. It's like, where could we maybe help a little bit? $100 doesn't hurt anybody.
Yep.
It's nothing crazy. So that's,
No, I just wanted to throw it out there.
Oh, it's
That's a
totally
question
fair.
that's in my-
We get a
that's
ton.
in my
I mean,
head.
Harbor Fest, everybody comes, and when we are able to do it, we should. When we're not, we just.
All right, as long as I just wanted to put that out there.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
For what?
Oh,
The
$100 T-sign.
T-sign.
$100 to be signed.
Yeah, seconded. Okay. Any discussion?
Oh,
All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Passes. And we can always just have discussions regarding any future requests. Right now, I'm getting my act together. We need a motion to move to executive session to discuss matters pertaining to the employment history of a particular person and to discuss matters pertaining to the,
Oops, I'm sorry.
to discuss the property acquisition of real property where the value could be significantly affected by public disclosure.
So moved.
Diane?
Jamie?
Jamie, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes. So we are in executive session at 5:41. We need a motion to authorize the executive director to negotiate a lease with U.S. General Services Administration, GSA, for USGS at 17 Lake Street.
So moved.
Diane?
Second.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0, passes. All right, we also need a motion to authorize the executive chair to execute the contract for PEG.
So moved.
Execute the MOU, it's not a contract.
Thank you, MOU. Memorandum, okay. Diana, second? Jamie? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 5-0 passes. Any other business? We'll go to the order. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Diane?
Second.
Judd at 6, is that 6:17?
Thanks, everybody.